to Keffals responding to me responding to Ben Norton. Yeah, that doesn't break your brain in and of itself and tell you how completely inside baseball and pointless all of this is. There you go. This is me responding to Keffals responding to me responding to Ben Norton. All right. And if that doesn't break your brain and tell you how worthless this really is, and the fact that the algorithm is rigged to promote that kind of thing, I mean, that right there tells you I'm responding to a response to a response. So there you go. Right there you go. All right, here we go. Take it away, Keffals.
Is a tanky magazine. It's a tanky publication. It's known for its defense of Assad. It's known for its defense of China. It's known for its defense of Russia and downplaying what's happening in Ukraine. They do a lot with Jimmy Dore. That makes sense to me. So Caleb has decided to burn the bridge. Ben Norton.
Yeah. Ben Norton hasn't worked with Gray Zone in years. They had a crazy falling out a long time ago, right?
One of the founders of the Gray Zone is getting called out right now.
Ben Norton quit the Gray Zone. He had a nasty falling out with Max Blumenthal. He's no longer affiliated with the Gray Zone. They have no association anymore. The Gray Zone is critical of vaccine mandates. The Gray Zone supported the Rage Against the War Machine rally. Max Blumenthal spoke about it. And Ben Norton has nothing to do with them anymore. So already, you know, let's show you the thumbnail that Keffals made to promote this video says that Caleb Maupin is not mad at the Gray Zone. This has nothing to do with the Gray Zone. Ben Norton quit the Gray Zone a long time ago. So already, Keffals has no fucking clue what she's talking about, right? Ben Norton hates the Gray Zone. I don't have an issue with the Gray Zone. You know, I love Max Blumenthal. I love their work. This has not, me yelling at Ben Norton has absolutely nothing to do with the Gray Zone. So right there, right there, we know that Keffals has no fucking clue what she's talking about, right? That she thinks this is me burning a bridge or being mad at the Gray Zone. This has nothing to do with the Gray Zone. Do any of her fans care about this? No, because, oh, shut up, Nazbol, shut up, transphobe. Okay, continue, right? So right off the bat, she doesn't even know who Ben Norton is. She doesn't know anything about the Gray Zone. She just knows that there's a group of people who don't want a war with Russia, don't want a war with Venezuela, Iran, or Cuba, and don't obsess with the trans issue like she does, and they're bad people, and Gray Zone and Caleb and Ben Norton are all on this list. So there you go.
By Caleb Maupin. So if you don't know who Ben Norton is, here is his bio on the Gray Zone. Ben Norton is a journalist, writer, and filmmaker. He is the assistant editor of the Gray Zone and producer of the
way old news. He burned his bridge with the Gray Zone, stole the podcast from Max Blumenthal a long time ago. You are absolutely clueless, Keffals. You have no idea what you're talking about. You just know that we're both bad people because we're not pro-imperialist fuckheads like you. So go ahead.
Moderate Rebels podcast. So this video,
Moderate Rebels podcast no longer exists. Ben Norton stole it and he made it multipolarista. Again, you can tell she just really understands our work and knows all about us.
Caleb Maupin released 3 days ago is called "Shut the Fuck Up, Ben Norton." That starts off pretty strong for Caleb. I've never actually seen him be that aggressive before.
Yeah, then you're not watching me. I yell and scream on these streams all the time. I wave my arms. I do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm very emotional on here. You just never watch it because you have no idea who I am or anything about me. Let's continue. I have often felt that the polemic is a great way to communicate ideas. So I, for a long time, have loathed a certain pseudo-socialist, pseudo-anti-imperialist named Ben Norton. Made a video, didn't say my name because he doesn't want to advertise for me, God forbid, but he referenced a lot of the things we talk about on this channel and spoke about them idiotically. So this is the short clip of Ben Norton. Ben Norton giving his analysis of what it is we talk about on here.
Trump rotted so many people's brains. Obviously, we saw that with liberals, with Russiagate and the Orange Cheeto Man. And
it's a bit quiet. Hold on, let me fix.
being gay with Putin and all this nonsense. But like,
which keep in mind, all the people that Ben Norton is aligned with are the kind of people who promote that kind of thing. You know, Ben Norton says that the Stop Trump movement, the effort to drive out Donald Trump, all of that's good. And in fact, Ben Norton aligns himself with the Party of Socialism and Liberation, led by Brian Becker, whose only critique of the Biden administration was they didn't go far enough in prosecuting and outlawing protests and suppressing dissent after January 6th. So, yeah, you also broke your brain after Donald Trump was elected. But continue.
Like, it also rotted the brains of some people who were like on the left or claimed fidelity to the left, or at least used to. So, I mean, there are people who at this point, especially the so-called like patriotic socialists, which is a whole other dumb can.
Yeah, you can't love your country and be a socialist. That's just idiotic. I mean, who ever heard of such a thing, right? I mean, you become you notice like no response from Keffals so far. Like none of this matters to Keffals at all. I'm pointing out that socialists should love the country. If we expect to lead the country, we should obviously present that we love it and we can make it better with socialism, make it better by breaking out of imperialism. I'm critiquing how the Party of Socialism and Liberation wanted to jail Trump supporters and crack down on dissent more after January 6th. Keffals says nothing about that. Like none of that means anything to Keffals. None of that. I'm making all these points, and it's like Keffals is just like it's like none of that matters. Socialist because you want the country to burst into flames and everyone to die, right? I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, why would anyone be patriotic?
Why is he doing a Kermit voice? Why is he becoming the Joker?
Because I'm trying to be entertaining on my stream, Keffals, and that's like the only thing you can say so far. I just made an important point. You have no response to it, but I spoke in a funny voice because it's entertainment, because I have a YouTube channel. But that's what you're reacting to. That's your critique, right? You want me to speak monotone? This is dumb. Right? The right wing says that we're all a bunch of hippies who spit on soldiers and burn flags. Everybody knows that, right? Yeah. Why wouldn't we want average Americans to think we're their enemies? I mean, look at the gestures there. Just look at this. This is unbelievable.
We're
just sitting there silently. No response, no critique of any of this. I'm making all these points. She has nothing to say about any of this.
But they openly argue. They say communism is conservative.
Ben, do you think the Soviet Union was into the transgender thing? Was that what they were focusing on?
What? Wait a second. I think he's drunk.
Yeah, I don't drink alcohol. I'm not drunk. Why would you think I'm drunk? Like, this is just dumb.
He's drunk, right? Just
like seriously? Like that's what you got? You think I'm drunk? I mean, is it because I'm wearing a white shirt? I think she thinks, in that clip, I'm wearing like a white t-shirt, right? And she thinks that I'm Marlon Brando in A Streetcar Named Desire. And I'm just like, Stella, I'm sitting here in my wife beater. I'm drunk. And it's like, yeah, I'm drunk and I'm mad at Ben Norton. I'm going to beat up Ben Norton. I'm a drunk man. I'm an angry drunk man. All right. Well, yeah. Woo.
So out of pocket.
You think in China they're huge fans of the woke thing, and Ben, you live in Nicaragua. Stella! Ben, you live in Nicaragua. You do realize that Nicaragua has some of the strictest anti-abortion laws of any country in the world. Oh yeah. I don't think you realize that, because even while you're living in Nicaragua, you're tweeting out idiotic things, claiming that anyone who's against abortion is a fat.
Oh my God. Drunk Caleb Maupin rules. This is the most honest he's ever been.
I talk like this all the time, and I don't have to be drunk.
Because I remember he turned down, this was almost 2 years ago now, he turned down debating me on trans issues, saying that he does not want to talk about trans issues. And I think this is the only time I've heard him actually speak on trans issues. And it's just in relation to the notion that communism is conservative.
It's like, my position is I don't care about those issues. Like I just explained. And that's the same thing. I just don't want to have a debate about your genitals. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in your genitals. I'm not interested in bathrooms. I'm not interested in women's sports. I'm not interested in that stuff. I want to talk about like getting our country out of the crisis it's in, not having a nuclear war, you know, having jobs and healthcare and education. I don't want to talk about your genitals. Why is that a fucking crime? I don't want to talk about your genitals, right? I don't want you to be bullied. I don't want you to be persecuted. I want people to have access to the support that they need. I want people's families to treat them right. But I don't want to talk about your genitals. And that's like, do you see how long this clip played where I'm making points about patriotic socialism and I'm making all kinds of points? Keffals says absolutely nothing about that. But the second I say, you know, Ben Norton doesn't seem to realize that what the woke people in the West that are obsessed with the trans issue and what communism in China is are not the same thing. She's like, oh my God. Oh my God. It's like, and then she thinks I'm drunk. Like, what if I was drunk? What if I was completely sloshed? Why does that matter? Like, this is so dumb and childish. Like, this is who we're dealing with. Fascist and a theocrat and stuff. Ben, if you've ever been to any communist country in the world, Vietnam, Cuba, North Korea, China, Laos, Venezuela, you would know that according to the woke idiots you hang around with, if anyone says anything remotely close to what those people think, they would be labeled a conservative. So please do not try to convince me that the Chinese Communist Party is woke, that the Vietnamese Communist Party is woke, that Nicaragua is woke. They're socialists. They're anti-imperialists. They're not woke. Certainly aren't practicing degrowth, you dumb fuck.
We are more likely to.
I said a naughty word. Oh my God. I said the F word. Oh my God. Like again, like I'm making like serious arguments here, and all she can do is like giggle and go, oh my God.
Win over conservatives than liberals.
Actually, yes. Have you tried to talk with anybody in the United States lately? I mean, this is just great, right? What country does Ben Norton live in? He lives in Nicaragua. So he lives in Central America. He ran away to Central America, but he thinks he knows how to better recruit and build a socialist movement in the United States, right? I mean, this is outrageous. We can better recruit conservatives than liberals. Yeah, well, why don't you do it, Ben? Why don't you get your ass back here to the United States and go try to convince crowds of people who think that Trump needs to be removed from office because he's an agent of Putin, and you try to convince them to stand in solidarity with the people of Donetsk and Lugansk. You fucking idiot. Seriously. I mean, you run to Nicaragua.
Oh my God.
You're sitting there going, oh, we can recruit conservatives. Actually, you can. When I talk to conservatives, they hate Jeff Bezos too. When I talk to conservatives, they're suspicious of Biden sending weapons to Ukraine while America's falling apart too. And if you say that to liberals, you know what they say to you? That's a conspiracy theory. You must be right wing. Yes, it is easier to talk to conservatives than liberals. And you would know that if you were in the United States trying to do what is your job as an anti-imperialist and build an anti-imperialist movement, not just grift money ripping on your homeland. And that's all you're doing. You're a cynical grifter. And you're hustling the anti-imperialist state.
Yes.
You're hustling
Drag
Russia,
him, Caleb.
You're hustling China. You're hustling Venezuela to get money by doing a cynical performance art. I don't think you even really support these countries. I think that you're just a fucking grifter. And I'm here in the United States because I actually want to build a real movement, because I actually love my country. I love the working people. I care about the people in Ohio who are losing their jobs and seeing their kids go to prison for opioids. I care about the hungry children in the Bronx. I care about the people losing their schools and their jobs and their homes so that Joe Biden can send money and weapons to Ukraine or send money to Israel to murder Palestinians. I actually care about them. I'm not just putting on some woke autistic grift like you. I love.
Oh my God! Holy shit.
Now, first of all, I want you to see that. Now, this is something that the BreadTube crowd does a lot. And this is, I mean, this is one of their normal techniques. They don't say anything, right? Everything I said there Everything I said there in that rant that was like epic, where I was just killing it and talking about how I'm trying to build a real movement and I actually care about working people, everything I said was true. She has no rebuttal to any of it, but she plays it and then she stops it and she goes and does this woke laugh, this forced laugh, right? And that is one of the most common techniques. Serfs does this, Vosh does this, right? And basically they're trying to train their audience. It's a psychological technique. They're trying to train their audience that anyone who pretends to care about working people, just laugh at them. That's basically what they're saying. If anyone comes in, and says they care about hungry children in the Bronx, just laugh at them. If anyone says they want to stop World War III, just laugh at them. And they're just trying. It's like the laugh track on a sitcom, right? They play the laugh track on the sitcom after the joke to like get you to think it's funny, to get you to not think about it. That's what it is. It's a manipulation. She was trying her best to get all the people who watch her that the next time anyone comes to them and says, hey, I've got a petition to stop World War III, they go, you're a weirdo. They don't even know why it's funny. It's like a laugh track on a sitcom. And Serfs does this, Vosh does this, they all do this, right? She didn't have a single argument against anything I said. Nothing. Right? And she watched me go off an epic rant that got me a huge amount of likes. Many people in the chat were loving it. And then she just follows it up. She pauses it, and her only response is a forced laugh. Like she doesn't think it's funny, right? It's a forced laugh trying to train her audience to basically dismiss anyone who cares about working families, anyone who tries to stop war. Right? It's very, very nasty. I think it comes from like a manual or something because they all do it. And it's very weird. It's very, very weird. But they don't want anybody to feel empathy for people that are facing economic hardship. They don't want anyone to stop the wars. And so they play videos of people saying completely sensible things and they stop and then they laugh. And it's not an argument at all. And it's obviously quite scary. Shit. Love my country, and that's why I'm a socialist. I want to see an America where everyone has jobs and healthcare and education. I want to see an America where the bankers are defeated, and you want to hustle money and grift and rip off the anti-imperialist countries.
He's obviously very salty about the fact that he got fired from Russia Today.
I've never been fired from Russia Today. When did that ever happen? If you go to my Twitter right now, the pinned tweet on my Twitter is my report that I did on RT a few days ago. I work for RT every single day. When have I ever gotten fired from RT? That never happened. I work for RT. I've worked for RT for the past 8 years of my life, nonstop. That never happened, right? I've certain many people claim this on BreadTube that I've been fired from RT. I have never been fired from RT. I am the New York City reporter. I just got my badge, my press badge for the United Nations renewed. I do RT reports all the time. And if you look at this YouTube channel, you can see my RT reports that I do regularly. Where is she getting this? Like that just didn't happen. Just like Ben Norton has nothing to do with the gray zone and hasn't for at least a year, I've never been fired from RT. Like, where does she get this? And again, if you're going to rip on somebody, you should at least look into this. You should at least do some research. When did I get fired from RT? I've never been fired from RT. Never happened, right? RT America shut down, and so I work directly for International. And I'm very open about this, right? I continue to have reports on RT every single day. When did this happen? Just like she said, Ben Norton is with Gray Zone. Not true. Now she says, I'm not with RT. Yeah, I am. Yes, I am. And she's just like, and again, none of her fans care about this, right? If you're a fan of Keffals, you're like applauding and cheering and helping someone attack people. And this person does not know what the hell they're talking about. But do they care? No, because they're on the blue team and I'm on the red team.
They can't pay him anymore ever.
They can't pay me anymore. I don't know. I don't know how I'm paying my rent in my apartment here. I don't know how I'm feeding my family, taking care of my wife. I don't know how I'm doing any of that. If they can't pay me anymore, did Russia just like stop having money? What? It's just like, can you believe this? Like she says this with a straight face. I want to see an America where everyone has jobs and healthcare and education. I want to see an America where the bankers are defeated and you want to hustle money and grift and rip off the anti-imperialist countries.
He's He's obviously very salty about the fact that he got fired from Russia Today.
I never got fired from Russia Today.
They can't pay him anymore.
What? They can't pay me anymore? I get paid all the time. It's my job.
Ever since, Russia invaded Ukraine.
And how does that work? How does that work? If there's a military conflict with Ukraine, suddenly TV networks shut down or something? Like, this is just idiotic. And again, do any of her fans care that she got a fact blatantly wrong? Of course not. So that you can live a luxurious, decadent lifestyle as an expat. I actually believe in this. I actually love my country, and you're a fraud, and you know it.
Over conservatives than liberals, and they openly say that. And
yeah, we do. Because if you lived in America and actually talked to anybody, you would know that. You would know that liberals want to murder Russians and conservatives want peace with Russia. You would know that liberals believe everything they see on CNN and conservatives question it. You would know that Tucker Carlson supports the Uhuru movement, while Joe Biden is trying to throw them in jail for being against the war in Ukraine. Oh, this is great. Wait till you see this part. This shows you what a complete piece of shit Keffals is. You might know this, Ben, if you were here doing the work, if you weren't a grifting expat.
They say that Trump, even though we disagree with him, even though we disagree with him on all these things, he represents this kind of like radical wing of the bourgeoisie that is going against big capital. And it's
actually, yeah. Why do you think they're trying to throw Donald Trump in jail? I mean, if he's on the same team as Joe Biden, why do you think they're trying to throw Donald Trump in jail? Why do you think they kicked Tucker Carlson off Fox News? Oh, but they're all good buddies. There's no disagreements. That's crazy. Oh, the idea that there might be...
I've never seen him this mad before.
And you haven't been watching.
Holy shit. He's having a fight.
You've never watched. I get very angry a lot on these.
With a YouTube video right now. You know what? I'm liking his video. This is the most reacting I've ever seen him.
That's because you don't watch me. I reacted to Jordan Peterson for 2 hours. I've reacted to Noam Chomsky. I have a lot of streams reacting to people, yelling at them, all kinds of things. But you don't watch me because you don't know anything about me. You've just been told to target me because I'm not a pro-imperialist like you.
He was such a fucking robot. Turns out all he
No, I'm not.
needed to do was get drunk.
I'm not drunk.
And then make a YouTube video.
Fight in the ruling class. I mean, there was no coup attempt against Roosevelt. The business plot never happened. JFK never got assassinated. No, RFK never got assassinated. Oh no, Nixon didn't get driven out of office with the Watergate scandal. No, all the capitalists are on the same team. Karl Marx said so. There's no division in the ruling class. I know what I'm talking about. What a fucking idiot. I mean, and he sits there and he wants to tell us that, oh no, we shouldn't be trying to recruit Americans that are conservative and are questioning mainstream media. Instead, we should be trying to recruit teenagers with pink hair who think all Republicans are Nazis, and that anyone who is at all critical of the trans question, which the Russians and the Cubans and the Iranians and the Venezuelans are, should be murdered. You have no idea what you're talking about, Ben. Tucker.
He just keeps bringing up... He's like... I see where the Yankee Tanky gets it from. Like, how, I tried to have that debate with the Yankee Tanky about Chinese politics and Chinese domestic policy, and he just kept bringing it back to trans issues and ended up calling me a troon. It's crazy. It's stuck in their head. The real woke brain virus is the fact that the existence of trans people just completely starts rotting people's brains.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's not that the left is marching us into World War III. The left has abandoned working people, and this guy with a red beard from what, South Carolina or whatever, made a song about class struggle, and they want to hang him from a tree because it didn't mention transgender stuff enough. It's not that the left has abandoned anti-imperialism and class struggle. It's just that we just all sit around, we just can't hate trans people all day. And that's what we all do. We all just seethe with hatred for trans people.
Cuba's been pretty good on trans issues. They have government-funded sexual reassignment surgery.
So does Iran. Iran has government-funded sexual reassignment surgery too. But if you go to Cuba, I can guarantee you, when the Cuban Communist Party is up there talking about what's important to them, it's not pronouns. And I can guarantee you, when you go to Iran, even though it's not a Marxist country, anti-imperialist country, and even though they do have transgender surgery for everybody, when they talk about the issues that are important to them as a country that's resisting the imperialists, it's not pronouns.
I mean, there have been trans mayors before, but this is also
Okay, and
the result of what happens when your politics is entirely just campism.
oh, my politics are campism. You mean like siding with people in the countries around the world that are under attack from U.S. imperialism, like wanting to see people whose countries are kept in chronic poverty lift themselves up out of poverty. You mean like trying to get the working people of the United States to realize that their real enemy is at home, not around the world, that it is our duty to unify with the people of the world against the imperialists. That's just like campism, right? That's just like some weird side note, right? It's not like what Marxism is all about. That's not the entire point of Marxism, Leninism, or anything, to defeat the imperialist system and let countries around the world achieve national liberation and destroy imperialism. That had nothing to do with that, right? I mean, it's just campism, right? I mean, it's just, like wanting countries around the world that are kept poor, where people are starving to death and under domination of Western imperialism, wanting them to break free, supporting national liberation struggles, trying to get the working class to align with the colonized people in their struggle for liberation and turn against the imperialist wars, right? Making war against the war makers, the soldiers turning their guns around, to defeating imperialism. None of that is that's just campism, right? I mean, that's like not important. That's not like what Lenin wrote about or anything. That's not what Marx wrote about. That's not like what Ho Chi Minh talked about, or Che Guevara or Mao. None of them were about any of that. They were all just about transgender pronouns. Duh.
Doesn't actually believe anything. He's there for the
Yeah, I don't believe anything. That's why I take positions that get me canceled. That's why I risked my life going on a ship to Yemen. That's why I've had my reputation dragged through the mud by people like you because of my positions that I take. That's why I got canceled for meeting with Alexander Dugin. Yeah, I don't believe in anything. Clearly you're the principled one, the one who sold out and abandoned the global communist movement so you could have a live stream about your genitals.
Whatever the countries that he is super invested in say, that's just what he believes now.
Right. Whatever the people who are under the gun and under attack from U.S. imperialism, that are being bombed and having their homes destroyed, whatever the people that were all being riled up by CNN to hate and to justify U.S. wars against and sanctions that starve people and kill them. You're right. That's all I care about. Clearly, I don't care about important things like women's bathrooms. Duh. I care about like people getting shot. I care about the children of Donbass who've been facing bombing for 8 years. I care about like the people on the island of Cuba and the blockade they're facing. I don't care about like important things. Like clearly, I'm just like a sellout for these countries that are like under attack that the U.S. government is trying to destroy. Carlson supports Uhuru, and Biden is imprisoning them, and all the fake leftist groups, for the most part, have abandoned them, right? You want us to align with the people who are throwing black revolutionaries in jail, but you don't want us to align with the people speaking up in support of them on national television. That's your position. It's more important to be woke than it is to support black revolutionaries who are facing imprisonment. You want us to align with the people.
Isn't the Uhuru movement like a cult? I don't know much about them, but I'm pretty sure that's a cult. Yeah, they're a grifter cult. I saw a video about it where a black guy went to like an Uhuru rally.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is unbelievable, right? There are a group of activists in the United States who are facing a decade in prison for doing nothing other than being anti-imperialists. Like, these are real people that could go to real prison for having web conferences. And you're okay with that because, like, aren't they like a cult or something? Like, I heard that they were like a cult. Like, so I mean, this is beyond me, right? I mean, you claim, these are the people that claim we're racist and claim to be woke and all this. They care about black people. They care about, the prison industrial complex. There's a group of black revolutionary activists that could go to prison And you're okay with that because, like, I heard that, like, they're like kind of like a cult or something, or like, this is unbelievable. These people are our enemies. I don't know who they are, but like they're like a cult or something. So I'm going to support like the FBI, like going after them and raiding their homes. I'm going to support them like going to the homes of black revolutionaries and like kicking their doors down and pointing guns in their faces and threatening to drag them. I'm going to support that, because like, like that. I saw like a video one time. I mean, like, this is unbelievable. She would have supported killing Fred Hampton. All they had to do was make a tweet about, oh, the Black Panthers are a cult. And she would have supported killing Fred Hampton, right? She would have supported hanging Joe Hill, right? As long as, they ran an article in the newspaper that said Joe Hill was a sex pest or something. She would have supported hanging Joe Hill. These people are completely worthless, right? That is her response. That is her response, right? She sees a group of black revolutionaries on trial for their thoughts and for their words. And her response is like, well, aren't they like a cult or something? Like, I guess that's okay because, like, I heard, like, I think I saw this video one time. I mean, she's supporting the FBI. They raided their homes. They dragged them out of their homes in handcuffs. They're facing years in prison. Black activists, and you support it because I think they're like a cult or something. Like, oh my God, like I saw this video one time. These are evil people. These people are a disgrace. These people are a disgrace. I mean, no one with any anti-imperialist sentiment, any anti-racist sentiment, any anti-police state sentiment can have anything to do with these pieces of garbage. She's literally supporting the FBI because I think I heard that like I can't. I mean, these people expose themselves every time. Not only does she support U.S. imperialism trying to get us into World War III with Russia, but she also supports the FBI terrorizing and imprisoning black revolutionaries for exercising their freedom of speech.
Started going up to all the white members and asked for $20.
Like, I saw a video one time and I asked for 20.
He got a lot of money. Oh, it's Channel 5? Oh, man. That channel used to be so
the FBI, like, raiding their homes and trying to put them in jail is, like, totally fine because...
good. It sucks that, rest in peace.
Who are censoring the internet, who are teaming up with Twitter to silence us. You want us to align with them because Trump is a racist. Trump is a big racist. I don't like Donald Trump. There's a lot of things that Donald Trump said and did as president, murdering Qasem Soleimani, anti-immigrant policies I don't agree with. But the Trump wing does represent a section of the ruling class that is at odds with the prevailing trend of imperialism. And if you are so idiotically dogmatic, you cannot realize that. How dare you call yourself a Marxist?
It's like small capital against big capital, which is...
Yes, small capital against...
He's reacting so hard. Literally, he couldn't get 3 seconds in. He couldn't get 3 fucking seconds into the video before...
And you have no response to any of the facts that I've laid out in this video. You have not said one thing that has debunked anything I've said. All you've said so far is that Ben Norton works at Gray Zone. You've said that I got fired from RT. You listened to me say all kinds of things that were good points and said nothing. And then you said, oh, that you're okay with the FBI terrorizing the Uhuru movement because they're a cult. Like, you have not made a single point in this video.
We had to pause to get mad at Ben again.
And then you're commenting that I'm drunk and that I'm mad. Like, I'm talking about black revolutionaries facing 10 years in prison. I'm talking about the danger of a new world war. I'm talking about people losing their jobs and homes. I'm talking about things that like actually matter. And you're sitting there talking about, oh my God, I think he's drunk. And I mean, this is capital. Yeah. The business plot. The Yankee and Cowboy War. Carl Oglesby. The Anglo-American establishment by, I mean, wow. I mean, it's just like there's all this research into who the ruling class are and the different factions among them. But no, they're all the same. We're all idiots for thinking there could ever be any division in the ruling class.
Going against big capital. And it's like small capital against big capital, which is ridiculous. I mean,
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, right? I mean, Trump's administration wasn't full of lower level capitalists and Biden wasn't supported by all the big corporations in removing Donald Trump. I mean, this guy This guy's really a piece of work, right? I mean, it reminds
So
you of Noam
true,
Chomsky,
Caleb.
doesn't it? Noam Chomsky.
So true, Caleb.
Like this. When the movie JFK by Oliver Stone came out, Noam Chomsky and Howard Zinn gave a press conference and said, "Oh no, this movie's awful. No, it can't be because Kennedy did the Bay of Pigs invasion. Kennedy oversaw some coups, so therefore Kennedy wasn't assassinated." Well, what does that have to do with anything? Right? Well, Kennedy wasn't a communist. Kennedy wasn't perfect, so no response either. Like, she has nothing to say to any of the points I've made throughout this video. Therefore, we can't talk about the Kennedy assassination. As if there could never be any divisions in the ruling class, as if there could never be other factions. And after 9/11, 9/11 truth, the same situation, right? Noam Chomsky came out and said, "Oh, no, we can't look into any questions about 9/11.
Wait,
I mean, at this point...
What the fuck is he talking about? What was the...
Yeah, you would know if you had half a brain cell.
What was the point of any of this?
I don't know. Again, you would know if you had half a brain cell.
He's so fucking tilted.
Revealed stuff about the hijackers, the 28 pages, but Noam Chomsky came out, no. America just goes around the world doing bad things. Somebody did it back to us. No. These people are gatekeepers. They're here to make sure that the left just remains a piece of window dressing for the U.S. political establishment. That the U.S. political establishment does whatever it's going to do, and the communists and the leftists, we remain this Noam Chomsky fan club, this irrelevant group of intellectuals and people, running up our nose. Oh, yes, I'm better than the idiot Americans. They're a bunch of cowboys and racists.
Wait, what? Sorry, I stopped paying attention for...
Yeah, you clearly did.
1 second. How did this video just end?
And the communists and the, I would stick to the streams about your genitals, my dear. Leftists, we remain this Noam Chomsky fan club, this irrelevant group of intellectuals and people, running up our nose. Oh, yes, I'm better than the idiot Americans. They're a bunch of cowboys and racists.
That's how it ends? Dude.
Again.
Oh, my God. He's so mad.
Like, that's it. That's her debunking of me. Well, since you all just watched that travesty, right? Which I'm sure her fans think was brilliant. I mean, her fans think it was amazing. Like, whoa, she just destroyed Caleb there. She called him mad. And she, her fans probably think that was like a really deep dive into what I'm all about. Again, that's why this is kind of pointless. But I want to show you the group of black revolutionaries that she just called for imprisoning and said it's okay for the U.S. government to go after. I'm going to show you who they are in case there's anyone watching right now who's interested in actually learning, about what's going on and why the U.S. government is targeting a group of black revolutionaries. I'm going to show you. This is the group of people that Keffals wants to imprison because she saw a video one time and that they're like a cult. This is from our recent CPI film. The rioting was done. U.S. media kind of forgot about those communities. Well, Uhuru, they went out there because they saw black and brown people like themselves that were out there protesting and rioting. And they stayed there, and they've been there since 2014, providing services in the community, giving these young people in the community something constructive to do, not just go out and break shit to raise awareness about the conditions they're in, but ways to actually feed people and serve the community. And they've been there. Keep in mind, Keffals wants all of the people you're watching in here, she wants them all to go to prison because she saw a video one time and they're a cult. St. Louis, since 2014, doing constructive work, they have really escalated these programs. They have a farmer's market. They provide classes and services to pregnant mothers, and in particular in St. Louis, Missouri, and in St. Petersburg, Florida. They're trying to undo the damage that the U.S. Department of Justice and the state police and the local police and all the forces have been doing in communities like Ferguson, Missouri. And at the same time that they've done this community work, the African People's Socialist Party has also taken a firm anti-imperialist stance. They support China. They support Russia. They support Cuba. They support Iran. And when the United States started piling weapons into Kiev, they defended Russia's right to intervene.
This defensive war in Ukraine that Russia is actually waging against world colonial powers, not Ukraine as a single entity, but the U.S. and all colonial powers who have an interest in colonially dominating African people right here in this country and around the world and extracting resources from the majority of peoples on the planet. That system, this current system, is in severe crisis and they cannot rule in the same old way.
because of that, their homes were raided. Then months later, the federal government came out with an indictment, and it's charging them with being Russian agents. And it's trying to allege that the election campaign that they ran in St. Petersburg, Florida, was somehow interference in the U.S. electoral process.
4 activists associated with the People's Democratic Uhuru movement and the African People's Socialist Party have been indicted by the U.S. Department of Justice. The indictment from the U.S. Department of Justice accuses them of spreading Russian propaganda and cites simply some web conferences that they had, some Zoom meetings, some emails they sent out, as well as the fact that they have run routine election campaigns. Is this of concern to the Secretary General as an attack on human rights, freedom of assembly, etc.?
I frankly was not aware of the case before you mentioned it. Let me look into it and I will get back to you.
What's going on in Africa is directly connected to what's going on here. What's going on in Ukraine is connected to what's going on in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? It's an international global economy that's all connected.
Because they go to conferences in Russia, this constitutes Russian meddling in the elections. The whole thing is ridiculous. It's completely, utterly ridiculous. They've been running these campaigns for years, since before I was born. Back in the 1970s, they were running people for office. Their platform of reparations, I mean, Marianne Williamson, she's a major Democrat candidate. She also says she believes in reparations. I mean, it's not a unique message that they have in that sense, but they have been targeted because they're doing what you're supposed to do. I mean, you know, at all of our meetings, we have a picture of Fred Hampton up on the stage because Fred Hampton, he built a free breakfast program. He organized what he called a rainbow coalition, uniting low-income people, white, black, brown, Arab, Latino, into one organization, you know, trying to build up community empowerment, trying to do community service projects while teaching Marxism and socialism. You know, we look at Fred Hampton as a great example of the American revolutionary tradition. And, you know, the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement, you know, they don't like that we wave the American flag. They don't like that we consider ourselves patriotic. They have their own kind of unique analysis. They talk about what they call the colonial mode of production. That's not traditional Marxist thinking. And we don't agree with them on a number of issues, but it doesn't matter. We support them.
We all have to stand up and oppose the ideology of division and support an ideology of unity based upon our material interests, you know what I'm saying, to work together.
People who can't understand that, people who can't get past, you know, this or that, like, we got to put aside our differences and say that if they come for them, they come for all of us. They go after them, they got to deal with all of us. That needs to be the attitude among anti-imperialists. Yeah, that's from the recent film that the Center for Political Innovation released, made by Peter Coffin, who's amazingly skilled. And that in that film, we talk about the Uhuru movement and how important their case is. I mean, they are indicted by the American government just for being anti-imperialist, just for their freedom of speech. It's a very, very dangerous case. But Keffals is totally okay with the FBI going after them. Totally fine with the FBI going after them because she saw a video one time that they're like a cult. I mean, you know, you want to talk about evil, right? I mean, don't tell me these people aren't spooks. Don't tell me these people aren't being promoted by the ruling class and by the government. The fact that they, you know, that she, as someone who claims to be anti-racist, as someone who claims to be woke, she's not screaming from the heavens in support of Uhuru. Instead, she's just, you know, she's okay with the FBI terrorizing them because she saw a video that they're a cult. Like, this is unbelievable. I mean, go and watch the film. Peter Coffin did a great job with it. You know, and I think when I cut this clip, I'm going to call it Keffals wants the FBI to jail black revolutionaries. That's what I'm going to call it, right? And let's see if that works. Maybe I'll just call it, you know, something else. I don't know, but yeah. So there you go. I succumbed to the temptation of the algorithms. I lowered myself by making a drama video, but hopefully people watch it. You know what I mean? Hopefully people watch it, and hopefully one or two people in Keffals' audience don't think that the FBI should jail black revolutionaries. Don't think that maybe one or two people in Keffals' audience will have the common sense to realize, oh, wow, maybe we should support Uhuru, not people that are helping try to make the case online for imprisoning them. You know, just an idea.